They're not repealing a threat, they're retiring a cover story. On May 7th, Representative Anna Paulina Luna filed the American Privacy Restoration Act, a one-page bill to repeal the entire USA Patriot Act, no exceptions, no substitutes. And on the surface, it does exactly that. It nullifies every section of the post 9/11 surveillance law and restores every statute it amended to its original pre-2001 language, which means no more sneak and peek warrants, no more national security letters without court oversight, no more interagency data pipelines rubber stamped as anti-terror tools. It's the most direct attack on surveillance law Congress has seen since 2001. But here's what it doesn't do. It doesn't stop surveillance because the real system moved on. Section 215, the metadata dragnet exposed by Edward Snowden, ended in 2015. It was ruled legally obsolete and functionally useless. This bill repeals it 10 years late, and the tools that replaced it, untouched. Section 7. O2 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act still allows warrantless collection of communications involving Americans as long as one end is technically foreign. Executive Order 12,333, a Reagan-era directive that lets the NSA hoover up global signals intelligence without a vote or court order, remains fully operational. Neither are mentioned in the bill, neither are paused, neither are slowed. The architecture of modern surveillance was built to survive this repeal. And the people running it know that. The FBI hasn't issued a statement. The NSA hasn't sounded an alarm. ODNI hasn't briefed Congress in opposition. That's not indifference, that's confidence. This bill doesn't touch the legal infrastructure that matters. It doesn't restrict AI surveillance. It doesn't ban biometric modeling. It doesn't block the predictive targeting systems used by Homeland Security, the IRS, or local law enforcement. It doesn't shut down the fusion center pipelines that now connect 18,000 police departments to federal threat databases. It repeals the law that started it, not the system that grew from it. And maybe that's the point, because if this were a serious legislative effort, you'd see names: Thomas Massie, Chip Roy, Pramila Jayapal, civil liberty types, constitutionalists. They've all had time to review it. None signed on, no co-sponsors, no committee hearing, no Senate companion bill. That tells you what this really is. A release valve, not a kill switch. Real legislation doesn't start like this. It starts with strategy, pressure, and power. This started with an ex-stripper holding a press release. That's not reform, that's narrative control. And yet, passing it wouldn't be meaningless. Repealing the Patriot Act would reintroduce friction. It would slow down the DOJ. It would force agencies to re-establish cause and documentation. It would force the FBI to defend surveillance on a case-by-case basis instead of by statute. It would take away the automatic justification. It would stall pipeline sharing between agencies, roll back the relevant standard, and reimpose the need to prove foreign ties before accessing records. In other words, it wouldn't end the machine, but it would make the machine louder, more obvious, more vulnerable. That's why this bill matters, not because it kills anything, but because it might make people ask, if this passed, why is the surveillance still happening? That's the wedge, that's the win, because the second the public realizes the Patriot Act wasn't the spine, just the starter pistol, the entire legal narrative begins to break. You don't repeal a surveillance state by deleting the first chapter. You end it by exposing how much of the book was written in secret. This is Index Red. No masks, no games, just the signal.